In today's video, overcoming childhood obesity by being less restrictive with Phil. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com, and today I got my man Phil Pertle from ProPhysique.com. What's going on, Phil?
Hey, how's it going?
This is Phil's first video, so don't mind him if he's a little nervous. But what we're going to talk about today is the topic of kind of overcoming childhood obesity.
Right.
You have an interesting story, and a lot of what I love to do here on this channel is provide value for people who have questions. And I think one of the most common questions I get is, you know, how to lose weight properly? How do I get leaner? How do I just live a normal, healthy life?
Right.
And Phil is someone who is a certified personal trainer. He is a coach here at ProPhysique.com. So he's got the perspective of being my client for a long time, but also now coaching clients. And I thought his story would have a lot of value to people out there who have a lot of weight loss to overcome, because I want to get into like your youth, because we talked a little bit about that. So why don't you explain a little bit like what it was like growing up in your household? As you explained to me, your mother was a little bit restrictive with kind of the foods you were able to consume and how that affected your behavior.
Whenever I was growing up, I was one of those kids in the household where my mom never had chips, she never had snacks, cookies. It was, hey, you're only allowed to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and that's it. So every time I'd go over to one of my friends' houses, I was that kid that was going crazy whenever I'd see Oreos or Little Debbie cookies, anything like that. I would just go nuts. So I was that kid, and my weight just kept kind of creeping up. And it was just a continuous rise until I was 16 and I had enough.
What was the highest weight you ever hit?
At least 307 pounds.
And how tall are you?
I am a stunning 5'8".
Yeah, so he's standing on something, so, because I'm 6'3". So the idea of being, whatever, over 300 pounds at 5'8" in high school, that's got to be pretty intimidating. Now, do you remember having feelings of inadequacy or concern about that at a certain point?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I was always the biggest kid in the class, and once you get into high school and you start going into the locker room and you realize, well, wait a minute, like I look absolutely nothing like anyone else in here.
Right.
It really takes a toll on you.
So growing up in a household where you were told to eat healthy and you were, I'm assuming, getting healthier meals, what do you think kind of contributed to your weight gain at the earliest point when you started to notice it?
Everything just being so restricted.
So do you think you were kind of secretly over-consuming out of fear of like your mom seeing what you were eating?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. That, and I just, kind of like most people, I don't like being told what to do.
Yeah, so you told me an interesting story about once you got your freedom and you got your car, what did you do?
So the first thing I did whenever I got my driver's license was I hopped in the car and I went to the grocery store, and if I wanted to buy cookies, chips, whatever it was, I bought it because I had my own car, I had my own job, my own money, and yeah, my parents couldn't stop me at that point. Yeah,
I mean, this is something that I commonly see with people that I work with that come from an approach of being very restrictive, of looking at foods as binary, good or bad. And it's almost something that has to be deprogrammed. I grew up in literally the opposite household as you. My dad always had Little Debbies in the house, and I do not restrict what my kids eat. My kids are just as likely to choose a cookie as they are a banana. That's just my personal philosophy. I'm not telling people how to raise their kids, but I do tend to notice that people that are restricted at some point tend to almost overcorrect.
Right.
And so how did you get yourself to a place where you felt you had control again?
So I overcame it by kind of going full throttle with it for just a week or two. Once I had that little taste of freedom of, okay, I can go to the store and buy whatever I want to eat and I can eat it, I also realized that I can suffer those consequences, and it wasn't good for me. Now suddenly I didn't want to spend my own money on buying the snacks, the cookies, the pizzas, all that stuff.
Did you get into like some lifting? Because you obviously have a physique on you.
Yes. So my dad got me into powerlifting. He dusted out his old plastic cement filled barbell set.
Classics.
We had a little single stack bench with the arms on it that were about as big around as my wrist maybe. Yeah. So got started with that, and I took off with powerlifting. I fell in love with squat, bench, and deadlift.
Yeah. So last year we actually accomplished something that you had been wanting to do for a long time, which was we lost that 100 pounds. We got you down under 207 pounds, which which was a big moment for you, like something that we had worked, I mean, for several years.
Absolutely.
Phil's been a client for a few years now. So let's talk a little bit about your approach to dieting now and how it differs from dieting in the early days when you first started, tracking your calories.
So now I realize that I am taking in food to fuel my body, but I can also have an Oreo if I'm the same way with you with my kids. If my daughter wants to offer me an Oreo, I am not saying no to that cute little face.
Yeah.
So I fit in the fun foods here and there, but for the most part, I now take the approach of, you know what? As long as I'm getting in fruits, veggies, some whole grains, I'm getting in good fiber with my carbs, I'm getting in protein, lots of it, good healthy fats. Hey, the occasional little treat isn't going to be the end of the world.
Yeah, and I think, I was fortunate that I don't know if it was so much fortunate or it was just my ideals when I found, Lane's philosophy on coaching on bodybuilding.com. Yep. And it made sense. It made sense to me as someone that never grew up with an eating disorder. I didn't really want to eat tilapia for 20 weeks for a contest prep, and to find someone that was doing things in a way that fit my own personal beliefs, it's basically been the foundation for what Pro Physique is. And you got your nutrition certification through NAM, so let's talk a little bit about how that certification kind of matched up with what you're doing now as a coach.
So yeah, whenever I first heard about it through your YouTube channel, the first thing I did was reach out to you to find out a little bit more information. Dr. Joe was somebody that I had looked up to in this industry for a very long time. It was an opportunity to learn from some of the best. It was a fantastic course. It got really in depth into the mechanisms of how nutrition works inside of the body, going over different protocols for how to help someone out with their diet, which was something that I had been having a little bit of fun doing with some of my friends.
Yeah.
But this got so much more in depth, and it was just an amazing
And a lot of people, if you guys are out there going, how do I become a coach? This is something I often get asked, and it always comes back to you got to find something that actually you believe in. Because if you're reading something and it doesn't make sense to you, and believe me, I purchased a lot of different kind of nutrition guides and things like that I didn't really fully believe in. But when Dr. Joe came out with the National Academy of Metabolic Science, his approach to nutrition, it's very closely tied to what goes on in exercise science, his years of experience, but also the real world application, the case studies that they have you do in NAMS. I was very impressed by, as in like client X is doing this, what do you do? How do you approach this? And then, there's some feedback there. So, bringing Phil on as a coach, it was almost like you already had experience. So it was nice that you went through that. Now that you are a father and a coach and still a client.
One of the biggest things for me is wanting to inspire the people around me. I want to be a good role model for my kids. I want to be a supportive husband to my wife. I want to be an example to my clients of, hey, you can absolutely find that balance of maintaining good, proper nutrition, training without having to go through extremes, without having to put this dichotomy of good food, bad food. One of the things that I use with my clients as an example to help start breaking those chains with good food, bad food is if I tell somebody that they will have the physique that they want in the next 5 minutes, if they do not think about a giraffe, I guarantee you that now you're thinking about a giraffe. You were not thinking about one 30 seconds ago. It becomes something that you focus on. For me, now I don't even care really for chips or cookies.
Because it's available.
Because it's available.
Yeah.
I broke that chain.
Well, I always say this. The most powerful reason that people reach their goals is, or the most successful dieters, they reach their goals because they have a powerful reason to do that. Whether it's a bodybuilding stage, whether it's a photo shoot, whether it's you wanting to look and feel like someone that inspires your clients, your family, or just something that you're personally happy with, that's really what is the most important aspect. And I've been working with Phil for a few years here, and he's always had clear defined goals with me. Whether it's been to lose body fat, whether it's been to build strength, whether it's been to survive, just going through the birth of his children, I just want to come out of this and maintain my weight. You've always had a clear defined goal, and that's something that's always struck me, and it's I'm excited to keep working on our next goal.
Absolutely.
So What is that next goal?
So I want to be lean enough to do a photo shoot.
That's going to be it for me today. Thank you, Phil, for coming and discussing this, because really the value in this, the message that I want to get across is that restriction is not required for success. And in fact, I think sometimes too much restriction can create that animosity with the dieting culture and the dieting approach. You don't have to treat food like it's good or bad. Right. You can just pay attention to its value and apply that to your goals.
Absolutely.
All right. Talk to you guys tomorrow.